Awesome. So let's get started for our today's session on basically understanding operator site and what are the key elements for X-ray searches. And if time permits, then we'll also check on operator site versus operator in URL. But otherwise, last time we covered that when we covered an operator in URL, okay, we did realize that um, in URL is basically gives us a list of results which has a given keyword right after the in URL colon. That is basically an operator should be existing in the URL part of the search results. For example, we search for in URL resume, and then we see that the list which was coming in, which was completely full of resumes, something like this in URL resume. So previous searches, previous last week searches. So if you see this, all these results have a list of resumes as well, the list of results which has software engineer in the title or SD in the title or software developer in the title, and then gmail.com in the text part of the search results, and HTML, CSS, JavaScript were again an additional keyword which were a text part of the search results. And then again, Bangalore or India, which we have given for the location. And again, these were the text part of the search result. So just in case if you're confused about what is in URL, if you're joining a session for the first time and not really sure about what's an operator in URL doing, what's an operator in title doing, what's an operator in text doing, what's an operator um, basically this minus is doing, or what's the operator, what is the standing line. Generally, in LinkedIn, Naukri, Monster, in such kind of a job portal, we use this operator slightly differently. But wherein while we perform a searches in Google, we have a different syntax for all this operator, and there are various use cases of this all this operator, and all the syntaxes and the use cases of it, as well how does this operator performs, are pretty much covered in this document. The document link you will get in the invite signature, which I sent it over here, link to the Google Doc. You just have to click on the link and you'll have access to the whole content over there. What is that we are going to cover? And till date, whatever we covered, all those sessions along with the notes. And at the same time, just in case if you missed all the sessions and really don't know, it's a bit hard to start now because we already started. Now it's a seventh batch. It was a bit easy for a person who would have missed initial 4 to 5 session and wanted to start from today and joined in last week. But someone who is joining today and again wanted to recope up with all those sessions and join in a coming Saturday would be a bit difficult. Definitely, I would say for them, wait for the next session. But someone who joined for the last week at the first time, and this week if they have gone through all the videos and did the practice, I think you'll be able to pick it up from this session. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask as many questions as possible. And if you're joining for the first time, then definitely I would say either you refer to all these videos at once and again start joining from the next weeks on a continuous basis so that you cope up with the sessions. But otherwise, just wait till June or July, that will be starting a new batch. But right now I would say tentatively, it's looking for July, but not anytime soon. Yeah. So coming back to our today's session on what does the operator site do? So let's go over there. Any questions on in URL, in title, in text for the previous members who has been attending the sessions right from the day one, or at least people who has started last week and could able to spend some time from this Monday to Friday, and we're supposed to join. We're supposed to continue from today, in fact. So just wanted to ask you, any questions? If is there anything that you feel that you are stuck somewhere? Just unmute yourself. It remains the
Shiv,
same
just
formula of our training that as soon as you have a questions, you just unmute yourself and ask. Don't really have to raise a hand and wait in the queue. Yeah, Deepasri, please go ahead.
Shiv, default if suppose we give in URL, in title, if I don't mention in title or in text, what will it take? Is it a confusing algorithm for it, or
No,
what
it's
will
an
it take?
additional keyword for that.
No. Okay, if I just mention in title and default, it will take it all the things after it as in title only, or in text also it can take.
So what is that search string you're trying for?
Okay. Suppose, can you just go up?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Just you had given an example, right? Come down
Mm-hmm.
a little more down. You had an example. Okay. Suppose I mention in title, in URL, then in title. I just give software engineer. Then next part will also, if I mention software developer, it will take it as in title only, or what?
So this is the, for example, entitled software engineer or
Uh,
entitled software developer or entitled SD, right?
Suppose I don't give this or operator and in title. I just mention software developer. It will take it an in title itself.
Can we write a string? Let's say, yeah, you can mention.
Okay, in title,
Okay.
software engineer with double quotes. Okay.
Okay.
And now I give a space. I mention software developer. It will take it an in title itself as and operator,
Software developer, double quotes or just as it is?
double quotes.
Do I need to close the bracket?
Yeah.
So you're asking, you gave entitled colon software engineer in the double quotes space software developer in the double quotes. What
Yes.
does it understand? So it
Yes.
understand, give me the list of results where software engineer is in the title and also software developer as a keyword. This keyword software developer can exist in the title, in the text, in the URL. It can exist anywhere. When it is
This is
existing in the URL, it will be software hyphen developer or
okay.
software percentage developer.
Huh. So it
Okay,
can come
because
even in the URL as well as text as well as title, right?
yes, if you're not
Okay.
giving a command, if you're not giving an operator like in title, in URL,
Okay.
or in text, or
Hmm.
in text is not required, in title or in URL, if you're not using this operator, then it
Hmm.
simply takes as a keyword search and it could come anywhere. It could be a
Okay.
part of a URL, it could be a part of a title, it could be a part of a text.
Okay. Thank you, Shiv.
Yeah. Any further questions? Okay, Akansha, I see you just joined. So what we're telling is like someone who has started from the last week for the first time and gone through the all the videos, and
Okay.
now starting up again from today, means continuing
Hmm.
again from today. Feel free to ask as many as questions possible. Even previous people also who has joined right from the day one, feel free to ask
Sure.
as many as questions possible to cope up with the
Sure.
session. But otherwise, there are a couple of people who joined for the first time today. You might have a lot of questions. What is that in title doing or in URL doing or in text doing? Why is that standing line? Somewhere I see a space, somewhere I don't see a space. What is it all going around? So you might have some hundreds of questions like that. So for you, I definitely suggest or request you that please go ahead and start the trainings right from the first session where you'll be able to find here in my YouTube channel in a summer camp. And then try to spend some time throughout this week, do some practice, and maybe you'll take another 1 to 2 weeks to cope up with that. Similarly, someone who has joined for the first time from the last Saturday, though you have gone through the couple of videos, but you might find it little difficult, but not too difficult. But to make it more easier, I would expect you to ask as many questions as possible. Means wherever you're stuck, just unmute yourself and ask. Don't really have to think that I'm in a kind of a flow, I'm explaining something really important. No, not absolutely. Our formula is simple. As soon as you have a doubt, unmute yourself and ask. Feel free to ask same doubt hundreds of times. I would be more than happy to answer you and explain you the root cause of it or how exactly it's performing. Yeah,
Yes, Shubham.
awesome. Great. So let's go for today's session on understanding operator site and what are the key elements for X-ray searches. So X-ray searches I'll come later. First, understand the operator site. So any further doubts, as I mentioned, for the people who joined for the first time last week, and then people who joined right from the day one? Are we good? Can we move forward?
Shiv, I have a small doubt, Arshad here.
Yeah, Arshad.
Yeah. So when we start the search, right, we
Mm.
open the bracket. After bracket, space is mandatory, or it is how's that like?
So when we start, we open the bracket, it's not correct. Without bracket also we can open. Bracket use case is whenever we use or, that time only we are using bracket. Without using
No,
bracket,
no,
we can
that I
still use the
understood.
bracket.
In terms of like, if there is any or, we should have bracket. Yeah, that I understood. After bracket, is it mandatory to have a space or how's that?
So it depends on whether we are using that bracket with keyword or are we using that bracket with the operator. Something like sometimes you might use open the bracket in URL colon resume space or space in URL CV close the bracket. So earlier a month or before it used to work, but now recently there has been some changes in the Google algo. So what's happening is that the bracket is getting continuous counted with that in URL colon, and again we are giving a double quote or something like that. So in that case, what's happening? It's getting confused. So it's always better if you're using with operator like in URL in title, it's always better to keep that space after opening the bracket and before closing the bracket. But if it is just the keyword, not required.
Understood. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Great. Okay. Operator site is much similar like in URL, but there are few use cases that will cover it. Just give me a second. Notes from today's session. We understood how the URLs are generated, right?
Yes.
Great. And similarly, I'll take an example of the same URLs which we used last week, which were giving us a list of individual profiles, just in interest of time. Okay. So what we realized last week in all these URLs of individual profiles on the LinkedIn, there are few things which are constant up to certain extent. Something like https colon // www.linkedin.com /in and then /. After that, we have a usernames like this. After that, we have a usernames like this. Then user first name hyphen last name like this. Then user first name hyphen last name like this. And then user means customized name. Then what we did, okay, then we thought, okay, fine, why don't we use the same pattern in our searches? And that's where we concluded to use in URL certain part in the in URL. That was in URL because we were sure that in URL linkedin.com /in was existing. That's the reason we went ahead and mentioned in URL linkedin.com /in. Okay. And then we use some of the searches, something like in title. We said we want, let's say this time we'll go for front-end engineer. Front-end engineer. Now, front-end engineer people write in a variety of ways. That's the reason we'll also write in a variety of ways. Some writes front-end engineer, some writes front-end engineer. Just try to think in candidate point of view, candidate perspective, the way they would write. Then, or
UI engineer.
absolutely. So front-end, somebody write front space end. Front space and engineer, or someone write UI developer or UI engineer. Close the bracket. So like this also we can give, but it's always better. Just in case, same if you're using the same search. It's always better based on the recent algo changes. Instead of using one intitle, we can use intitle front-end engineer TIT.
In title, there is a mistake. I think.
Yeah. So that is intitle front-end engineer
And right Angular
or
developer, React developer.
will do it. Intitle front-end engineer or intitle UI developer. uh, Entitled UI engineer. All right. So here, okay, and then additionally HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then maybe for email IDs, we'll use their intext, gmail.com. All right, so in URL, linkedin.com/in, because that's something constant for every individual profiles, and then in title, front-end engineer or front-end engineer or front space end space engineer or UI space developer or UI space engineer, and then additional keywords like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then in text, Gmail, and let's say Bangalore or India. Now, some people might be saying that here I'm using space, here I'm not using space. Obviously, when we are using or, that space doesn't matter unless we are driving it with some of the commands like in title, in URL. So let's give this search.
So Shiv, when operators are there, it's then we got to give spaces, right?
It depends on the use cases.
Okay.
Yes, for in URL, we shouldn't be giving space. For in title, it depends what kind of a operator are we using. Based on that, we'll be using a space or not. So let's say for in URL, we give open the bracket, in URL colon, open the bracket, CV, immediately without space, hyphen, resume, close the bracket. Because there is no URL which exists, which has a space. That is something we covered in our previous session. But similarly, if you're using in title, then maybe you can prefer to use a space. You can use without space also. But just in case, if you want to try it out with space, without space, you can try it out and try to see if there are variations in results. Because sometimes I did observe there are variations in results. So that's the reason we have to keep trying. But otherwise, the basic understanding, the thumb rule is whenever we are using in URL, there shouldn't be any space. But when we are using in title, there can be a space. But when we are using a keyword only, there can be a space, there cannot be a space. That's completely fine.
Okay.
And now these double quotes, I'm gonna change it with this format because in Google Doc that format would not work. In Google Doc, the format is slightly tilted, but wherein this is straight. HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Okay.
Shiv, is it a good idea to write our search string in a notepad rather than writing it
Always.
on
It's an
Word?
excellent
Yeah.
idea, in fact.
Okay.
It's an excellent idea, in fact. Okay. Now, if you see in URL linkedin.com, we got 38 results with entitled front-end engineer or front-end engineer or front-end engineer or UI developer or UI engineer with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, intext, gmail.com with Bangalore or India. So all the results we're getting it from LinkedIn. And all are like individual profiles. And sometimes we see here, okay, front-end chef. Okay, we might not see that the way it is given front-end engineer or front-end engineer or front-end developer. But what happens when we open the profile, that front-end engineer or front-end developer would be existing. So if you see a front-end developer is existing. So let me log in. I was away from the office. Today I was only back, so I have to re-log in. Okay, now if you see here, there's a front-end developer. And then here also see here, there's a front-end engineer. So whatever you're using here in title, those titles can be their present title or those titles can be their past titles. Even ChatGPT is telling that this is a Google search query that looks for LinkedIn profiles of front-end engineer or UI developer with expertise in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript who have included their Gmail address and are located in India or Bangalore. The query uses several search operator in URL linkedin.com/in, searches for profile that include linkedin.com/in the URL. In title, looks for pages that have a specific title. In this case, the query looks for pages that have a title included that have a titles including any of the specific job titles like front-end engineer, front hyphen and engineer, then front space and engineer, UI developer or UI engineer. With HTML, CSS, JavaScript looks for the pages included these three programming languages in the content. Intext.gmail.com looks for the pages that includes the text.gmail.com in their content. Bangalore or India looks for the pages that includes either Bangalore or India in the content. Putting it all together, the query aims to find a LinkedIn profiles of front-end engineer or UI developer who have experience in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, have a Gmail address listed on their profile, and also and are located in Bangalore or India. That's amazing. So now, similarly, going with instead of using in URL, let's go with site. So here is the search. We'll just replace in URL with site. Site linkedin.com/in title, all this stuff. So additionally, we'll take HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Awesome. We got 143 results again with front-end engineer or UI developer in the titles and from LinkedIn and from India. Or this is sponsored, which is basically a paid ad from Google. So please ignore that. So let's go to fifth page.
Shiv, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
So when it comes to entitle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, prefixing entitle for all the what is the keywords, and then prefixing entitle for every keyword. Would there be any change in the results?
There wouldn't be, but there are recent algos. So that's the reason I'm just trying with both, where I'm using in title or in title or in title or in title. But otherwise, if you see the previous sessions, we just went ahead straightforward with in title, colon, front-end engineer or front-end developer or UI engineer or UI developer. But as I mentioned, there has been recent changes in the Google search performance. That's the reason we're trying both the approaches. And time will tell which is more accurate.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you see here, uh, any catch over here? Okay, is this search correct? The one which we have performed. Though ChatGPT says, but is this search correct? Though we're getting a appropriate result, but is this search correct? Yes, no. How many people? Yes, please ping in the chat over here. Yes, yes, yes. How many people no? Please ping. No, no, no in the chat over here. So we have around 26. Not to me, just ping it to everyone. Okay, so I just received 2 votes. Okay, three votes. Not seems, yes or no? Not seems, yes or no? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 8 votes. We have 26 people. 9. Come on, Satish. Yes, 10, 11. Everyone, please come on. Amandeep, Anant Kumar, Ganga Devi, Thiru, Vijay Bhatia, Shweta Reddy, Surbhi Dave, Shubham Solanki, Lavat. Naresh says no. Lavat, Shubham, Anant, okay, fine. Anant joined for the first time. That's completely okay. Okay, whoever joined for the first time, just mention that first time, first time, first time. Rest others, yes, you know, yes, no, yes, no. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Only 16 votes. Rest 10. What are we doing? Come on, fast. Just no need to test. Just see the string and tell me whether it is correct or wrong. Okay, Bhagya just joined. Bhagya, there's a contest going on. Is the string correct or wrong? So if I have to show you the results, these are the results. And ChatGPT also says. Okay. So, Naresh, you said no. May I know the reason? Not Naresh. Someone said, okay.
Yes, sure.
Naresh, you
Naresh
said
here.
no. And then you said first time. So I'm not really sure if you were trying for yes, no. But yeah. May I know the reason why you said no?
Yes, sure. So you have mentioned in title front-end engineer, right? So when we are looking out the results, it is not picking front-end engineer from there.
It is taking front-end engineer, UI developer, UI engineer. That's what we give. In title front-end engineer or in title front space end space engineer. In title UI space developer. In title UI space engineer. So it is giving accurate results. When we are on some of the later pages, but still it is giving fine results, accurate results. I just covered few minutes back. A format for this double colon is actually wrong. Though we are getting the results because Google has a lot of results, lot of data. Based on that, Google goes with the assumptions. Sometimes if we make a mistakes in our operator, Google goes with the assumptions and try to give us a list of results because it is again trying to show us a data. But the right is something, as I mentioned, this double quotes format in the Google Docs is little tilted, but wherein the one which is accepted, like someone asked me in the session that, so is it advisable to write strings in a notepad? And I said, absolutely 100%. That is the reason, because the format of this double quotes in Google Docs is not correct, neither in a Word document. So you can use a text document, sorry. So either you can use a text document or you can use a notepad. Now let's see. Earlier it gave us some 148 odd results, but now we are correcting our string from that tilted curl double quote. We are making it straight. Still the same results. Why is that so? Earlier it went with the assumptions, but wherein when we use like this, now let's say we just give one curly one. This one. Again 143, because it's basically going with the kind of a assumption, but it's not really taking that double quote as a double quote. It's actually going with the assumption that the person must be looking out for the front-end engineer. But actual thumb rule for Google or any such, let's say if I use the same operator in LinkedIn, let's take it here. In LinkedIn, I just use, okay, let me just take a look at here. Here, just the front-end engineer, UI developer. Copy. Okay, I'll just replace this pipe with R. Okay, now in LinkedIn, we're using this tilted ones. And as we know that LinkedIn would take maximum 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 hours are there. Let's go for this. Sorry. Not this. So in titles, I would remove. And now replace pipe with R. Then close. And then I just come here. I'll just take this. Now we'll go to LinkedIn. Let's say HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And then click on people. Then all filters. As these are the job titles, I just scroll down and put it in the title. All right, front-end engineer, front-end developer, or front space end engineer, UI developer, or UI engineer. Great. Free version of LinkedIn is giving me. Because again, it's going with the assumptions. End of the day, it's a data for them. But let's use recruiter now. So that we know when we are using kind of a job portals like LinkedIn or Monster, Naukri, or anything. So I just come here and use only the same search. God, this is also giving. That is something not acceptable. But let's see. Let's go for keyword and HTML and CSS and JavaScript.
So Shiv, are you checking if tilted double quotes on LinkedIn search is giving results or not? Is it?
Exactly. The reason we are checking because we believe LinkedIn, just in case if there is one operator mistake, then LinkedIn will say that your search format is incorrect. But I'm little surprised that it's showing us a result, even with the tilted colons. That is something which should not be happening, but it is giving us. So this can go right, but let's see.
When things have become very unpredictable, Shiv, searching
That's what the
engines.
social media hiring is.
Yeah. So LinkedIn algorithm keeps changing the job boards. I mean, they behave very weird actually sometimes. So
Let's take it as, let's just use one or the other string. Some lengthier strings we'll use now. Okay, now here if you see, we have some of the tilted ones instead of the right ones. Or let's say, okay, here we have few tilted, but we also have few right ones, and that's in a combination of or. So probably the results would come, but I'm just trying to see where we do not have many combination of or, and there's a tilted one. So that we get to know. West, west, west. Map, map, map. AC infra. This is Terraform. Telecom. PI high level. Let's go for this part, the simplest one. Right. Let me just remove all this because here there is no tilted one, and I'll clear the this thing. Let me just rewrite this. Okay, so Unix or Linux or Ubuntu or CentOS or Cent-OS or Cent space OS or WebOS. Let's just use these things. Cent, CentOS or WebOS. This is the correct format, and probably it should give us results. 11K. So now let's say same CentOS or WebOS we'll use in Word doc.
so where do we pick this tilted double quotes in keyboard? It's would it be straight double quotes or tilted double quotes?
No,
Shiv?
I'm
Because
using tilted one, which is giving me 11K results. I'm just trying to understand the behavior. Tilted one versus the straight one. So those tilted ones are also giving, but syntactically that is incorrect. Again, as I mentioned, still we get the results because that goes with the assumptions. Okay, now here you see uh, when it going with the assumption and when it is actually considering as a keyword. So when it is actually considering as a keyword, as the operator with that double quote, this CentOS is getting highlighted or WebOS is getting highlighted. Which are the search results you see, CentOS or WebOS is getting highlighted in a dark like this. But now when it goes with the assumptions like this, okay, CentOS or WebOS, which is a tilted version of it. Though this is giving us a same 11K results, but that highlighting is not happening. So if you see here CentOS, that highlighting is not happening. WebOS, that highlighting is not happening. Then again, we saw somewhere Cent and Webs, but it is not really highlighted. Okay, again CentOS, so that is not really highlighted. That means it's not really taking it as a keyword. It's just going with the additional assumption, thinking that human is trying to search for this and trying to show us a list of results. But generally, if it takes as a keyword, as a right operator, yes, the person is actually trying to search for this particular keywords, then that's where it will start highlighting. Now, similarly, if you see here WebOS, which is not highlighted. Now, same search we'll give with the straight ones.
Shiv,
So now for this databases,
I have a question. Um,
yeah.
May I know where the right double quote in the keyboard? Can you show me the right key? I'm seeing only one double quote in my keyboard.
So you need to use twice.
Uh, can you show the keyboard, the which key it is really? It's one before to the enter.
Which laptop are you using?
I'm using the HP.
HP Windows, right? Yeah, the one which
Yes.
is just keyboard. Tick, tick. Okay, so this one is there. Shift plus this.
Okay, so without, but I'm seeing only one. You said like the tilted one and the straight one. What is the difference?
Okay, so here you would see the same like this. Let me just take a look at the little darker one. Okay, now if you see here,
Yes.
which is slightly tilted, right?
Yes.
Okay, in Google Docs or in a Word document, the format comes in a tilted way.
Okay.
Okay, but when you use a WordPad, a notepad, let's say same thing, text document, it comes straight.
So basically it's single key only. The way it appears differs from document to document.
You see here, okay, it comes straight. But in coding language, it does not accept the tilted versions. In coding language, it only accepts the straight versions. Even if you go to Excel, let's say, I'm in Excel over here and give this double quote. That is straight one. It's not the tilted one. In Docs, in Google Docs and in a Word doc, it comes a tilted one. But wherein in a Excel or in any coding compilers, like when you use any compilers, okay, it will basically takes a straight one. Even if you write any code, let's say in GitHub you're writing a code, it will take only straight ones. So there are a misses over there actually. So that's reason I asked whether this search is correct or not, though it is giving us a list of results. But now if you see, if you use the tilted one, though we are getting a result, but they're not highlighting. But let's say if we use the right one, the straight one, and again give a search, we have a similar result. But what's happening in this? The CentOS, WebOS is basically getting highlighted. Just give me 1 more second.
So how do you put the right one? The same key, but
Right
the
one, either you
sides.
directly put it on a platform or use a text document and write a
Oh.
keywords.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, but when you use the Word document, here like this. Okay, in this Word document, it's slightly tilted. So let me see here once again. Here it's gone.
So whenever we need to put the keyword, so we need to write it in a separate place and then we need to copy it on the search board.
Nothing like that. You can directly come here and write.
Ideally, we are supposed to use straight double quotes and not tilted ones. Is it so?
We are supposed to use only straight double quotes and not tilted one. Even if you're copy pasting, try to make sure that those are not the tilted one, those are the straight ones. $270K now. So this person has highlighted by himself, but it's not LinkedIn which is highlighting. But otherwise, if you see a WebOS, which is highlighted by LinkedIn, because we are using a right format now. CentOS, CentOS. Even after opening the profiles,
So the keywords under straight double quotes are getting highlighted, or the ones under tilted double quotes?
no, the one which are under the straight, those are getting highlighted, and the one which are under the tilted, they are not getting highlighted. Okay, CentOS, all those. Now, similarly, we remove that double, means we'll use that tilted double quotes. Tick, 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 where is that? I just go to Word. CentOS we're writing. So this CentOS might get highlighted. The reason because it's without double quotes and it's a continuous word.
Sure, there is a gap between cent and OS. Is it fine? It doesn't make any difference?
First, I'm searching with gap. Second, I'm searching without gap. Third, I'm searching with hyphen.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here in this, cent space OS might not get highlighted. Web space OS might not get highlighted because those are the tilted ones. But wherein cent OS, it will go as it as a keyword. So it will get highlighted. Cent hyphen OS, it will go as it as a keyword. So it will get highlighted. Web OS, it will go as it as a keyword. So it will get highlighted. Web hyphen OS, it will get highlighted. But wherein cent space OS or web space OS, that might not get highlighted. And so it is showing up here itself. As I mentioned, web OS, it will go as it as a keyword. That's reason it might get highlighted, but web space OS, let's see where is web space OS or cent space OS. Cent OS, it will get highlighted because it will go as it as a keyword. Mm. So it's showing up here only, but I'm just trying to see anywhere else. Is it showing? So this is go as it as a keyword. This will go as it as a keyword, but the double quote one, I'm just trying to see, or web. It is taking up here, but here in the search, this is without space. So that is, so this is also without space. I'm seeing something which is with space and is not getting highlighted. So that we have evidence that the tilted double quotes is actually taking it as a assumptions, but not really as a, let's take this one only. Okay, now if you see your CentOS, which is there, but it's not really getting highlighted because it's going with the assumption. But when we give in a straight double quotes, it will take it as it is, and it will not consider it as an assumption. It will consider it as a, okay, fine. A human is actually trying to search for CentOS in this way. So that's where the difference between a tilted one and the straight one. So I'll just take a pause. Any doubts, any clarity, any confusion on tilted and the straight ones? Yes, no?
So
Uh,
in
Yes,
this-
sir.
No doubt.
Can sorry, I'm asking again.
Sure.
The can you make the straight quote and show me again?
This is a straight one. Okay, sorry. This is the tilted one. Let me just have one more LinkedIn open. So same, we'll use it. So that you'll have a better clarity. So first, this is a tilted one, and I'm using here the straight ones.
So you just changed the tilted one to straight one, right? So which
Yeah.
key you are using for from the tilted one to the straight one? That's my question.
So if I'm directly writing it over here, by default, it will come straight.
Okay.
But if you, so what I'm trying to explain over here is a format on Google Docs or the format on Word docs for that double quote is wrong. Rather, you use directly on a LinkedIn, write it
Okay.
because it is
Okay, got
correct,
it.
or write it
Okay.
in an Excel sheet, or write it in a Word document. Sorry,
Okay.
text document.
Okay. Yeah. Now got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, now if you see here, we have used it with the straight ones. That's where a CentOS is getting highlighted. Or CentOS here. Like that. But wherein the similarly over here, over versus here. Here it is the straight one. Here it is a tilted one. In a tilted one, it's not getting highlighted because it's just going with the assumption. But wherein in the straight one, it is understanding the human is trying to look for this particular keyword as it is. Because that's where those double quotes are actually straight. So the format sometimes go wrong when we use in a Word document or a Google Docs. Here I'm capturing a summary. Don't follow as it is because there's one thumb rule in a Google Docs. Not to miss. I'll not say thumb rule. Not to miss.
Sure. I'm just trying to understand as to what is the connection between these double quotes and then the difference between site and URL operator.
No, site in URL is completely different. Double quotes, it's again a basic. So I just
Okay.
wanted to get it clear.
Okay.
Because we might go site in URL extra, but if that double quote basic is not clear, while we create some advanced searches, then that time it will start impacting. It will start showing false positive results.
Got it.
Not to miss in a Google Doc or a Word doc, the format of double quote is slightly tilted and which is accepted by engines or job portals. However, we might see the results because results are assumed. Because those results are assumed by search engines and assumed by search engine and listed. However, it did not take it as an operator. To consider double quote as a correct operator, we will have to use text doc forward notepad Excel or directly write it on the platform. Something.
Got it. Thank you, Shiv.
Yeah. So this is correct. Is wrong. Okay. So that's about that particular double quote. Sometimes that's where we make a mistakes, but otherwise that is really, really important because that's again a very strong basic fundamental. And unless the basic fundamentals are not clear, or we don't really have that hands-on on basic fundamental, we may not be really able to create a great or lengthier or boolean and boolean or the nested searches correctly because tomorrow we'll face a problem if that basics are not clear today. So yeah, now coming back again to the today's session where we were using inurl and it was giving us all the list of results like this inurl, resume, entitled software engineer or entitled SD, entitled software developer or anything. Then we also used inurl linkedin.com. Similarly, what we have done, instead of using inurl, we started using site and then we see the same results again. Okay, so then we asked one of the search where the things were tilted. Then most of the people said yes, but as I mentioned, the tilted ones will not work. Though it will give us a results, but it will go with the assumption. It will not go with a strong operator. And there is a other use case of that double quotes where we can use it for the single word also. I'll cover it later in our some little advanced sessions, but not today. But now coming back to the site. So what does site does? Instead of using in URL, we are using site. So both are giving almost the similar results. Now let's say in URL, if I just go here, I just get in URL resume. Instead of using in URL, I just use the same search here in a new tab. Sorry, this is for resume. I'll just close these both the things. So, let's use both the searches. One is in URL, in title. In URL. linkedin.com/in. Then in title. Content engineer or
Sure, text documents, I mean, this is something different, not Word document.
again in Word document we get the wrong format of that double quote.
No, not about format. What I'm asking is, I know Notepad and then Word document, right? So here the heading says text document, right? So is this another type of document or
No, it's just the new version of Notepad.
okay, new version of Notepad? Got it.
Yeah. What happens in Notepad is it keeps going. But wherein in this, it won't go like that. In URL linkedin.com/in, entitle front-end engineer or front-end engineer or UI space engineer or UI space HTML, CSS, JavaScript, in text, gmail.com, and then Bangalore or India. All right. Similar search. I'll use, instead of using in URL, we'll take site. Okay, let's give two searches. Okay, don't go with number of results because Google will not show us more than 400 results. So though it is showing us millions over here, but don't go with it because when we go to the last result of the last page, in both the searches, we might see the numbers are actually same. So let me just go to some of the last pages. 10th page, 14th page, 18th page. So every page I have around 10 results. So I might have to jump for, so how many I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 results. So 750, right? So let's jump for 600 yet. Okay, 210. Instead of that, I'll just make 610. So it's a peel back search, we call it. Sometimes we modify the URLs like this. Now, if you see 610, it's not really existing. As I mentioned, it will give us maximum 300 to 400 results, not beyond that. So when we just made 610, it just says it doesn't exist. Now let's say 310. So start here in the URL, all the search part, everything gone, then and start equal to, there was some number. That number we just tweaked. So now we are doing it only 310. Okay, so we don't even have 310. So let's tweak again. Let's make it 270, 280. So let's say 280. Okay, we have some results. Now on 29th page, it stopped. Okay, 280 and then maximum 30th page, it's going. So I have around 296 results in this. Similarly, here, what is the number? Maybe 29, 30. Okay, 280 will also go here also similarly. Though it is showing 1030 results, but let's see actually how many results are there. Let me just go to next page first. Okay, it's giving me only 4 pages of results. So in URL hardly give me 30 results when I just go. But when I do repeat the search with the vomited results, it will also give 882. But when I just go beyond, let's directly go to 280th page, where 280th result is existing, means 20th page. I'm just trying to see where is that start. Okay, start 90. Okay, that's on a 90th page. Let's say 28. I'll also go here. Oh, sorry, 280 I am supposed to. Let me just go to 280. Okay, start 280. 29th. Okay, and finally end up with 30. 299 here, 296 here. So it doesn't make much difference. It's hardly 510, the variation of only 510 results. Because though it is showing us millions of number over here, but Google really doesn't show us millions of results. It can give you these are the numbers, and that I'm not really sure. I'm not done. Though I tried, but I've not got the evidence till date whether those many numbers are true or not. But when we search, when we go to the last pages, we'll realize that Google is not giving us more than 300 or at the max 400 results for any given string. So don't really get confused. So now we are on a last page, and here also we are on the last page. So here in the site, it says repeat the vomited results. So again, it says 752. Then again, let's go. Does it take us beyond 280? If that is the case, we would be honored. We'll have to go to next page first. Then we'll be able to see that. Okay, start 90. Let's go for 280. Okay, 29 of 750, great. Okay, maximum I ended up in 31st page, but no results over there. 300 results. Then again, I came back to the 30th page. So 300 result is what it's showing me. So the sorting of the result might be a little different from while we use a site and while we use in URL, but the number of result what we get is almost same. When you go to the last page, that time you'll realize generally people will try to show you, oh my God, so many millions of number, this thing, that thing. Isn't it so? No, it's not so. It is wrong. You have to go to the last page and try to see actually how many results are coming. Don't get to or don't buy data. Okay, or don't get impulsive when you see the data. Just try to see if it is correct. Showing the numbers is not actually, we can show you the number. I did show you the number, so many hundreds, but that's not really correct. Try to see what is correct. Okay. So that's where I just tell you what is there on my system. It's there on your system. It's not pre-recorded or the PPTs or anything. And we verify the data. It's not that we don't verify the data and give you the numbers. We verify the data. So now this is a verified data, what you're seeing over here. And what you're seeing over here, Google will not show us more than 300 to 400 results, though it shows a millions of results, but it's not shows us. When we go to the last pages, we'll not be able to see more than 300 to 400 results. And now coming back to inurl versus insight, there is no operator called insight, inurl versus site. Difference of inurl versus site, I'll cover it in tomorrow's session, but I'll just take a pause, just try to understand from your end. Did you understood what does the operator site is doing over here? And tomorrow's session is going to be really interesting because we're trying to understand why is that both the operators are giving me the same results, but why is that there are two different operator? What's the difference between in these two different operator? That's going to be very interesting session. Try not to miss. That's reason I just don't want to cover because that is something is not covered in a span of 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Definitely we need good 1.5 hours to spend it because we'll cover with those many use cases when we are using site, how we are using site and what exactly site is doing. And when we are using URL, how we are using in URL and what exactly in URL is doing. So wait for that. But for today, just help me understand. Are you clear of what site operator is doing? So now let's say instead of LinkedIn, we just go GitHub.
Shiv, certainly.
Mhm.
So the one difference that we see is in terms of number of results that we get, right? So when we're using in URL, a certain number of results are coming up, and we use site operator,
Just give me a
the
second.
number
Let
is
me
different, right?
So inside, we are clear to the Google that, hey, look, only look at the particular site which we are mentioning. Here in this case, like linkedin.com, we are
Yes, Satish, you were asking something?
So what I was saying is at this point of time, I mean, the difference between these two operators is with respect to number of results, right? When we are using in URL, a certain number of results are coming up, right? And when we use site operator, the number would vary. Whether it is more or less is different, but yeah, certainly the number would vary, right?
See, the number shown over here might vary, but that's not true. Okay, now here we are using here it is showing 752, right? And here it is showing 1030. But is it true?
Not really,
Yes,
because
no.
at the max we can see only 400 results.
Exactly. So number what we're seeing here, we might see millions also. Okay, but it's not true. Here also we might see millions also, but it's not true. End of the day, when I go to the last page on both the results, how many I'm getting? In both the results, I'm getting in and around 300.
So technically, what is the difference? Okay, you're going to explain it tomorrow, is it?
Explain tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, but today's session, I just wanted to understand. Have you understood what does the operator side do? Yes, no?
Yes.
Great. Okay, instead of using inurl, we are using site because again, we're trying to target to get the list of result from that particular site. So now let's say if I just go to GitHub and let me just open a couple of profiles. Okay, now in GitHub, it's github.com/LX. It's github.com Angela Bio. It's github.com Pindelbot. So we don't really have a URL format to search for a candidate. So in that case, what we would do? In that case, try to understand the page format. Okay, in LinkedIn, we have a URL format um, to identify the individual profiles. But wherein in GitHub, do we have a format to identify individual profiles? Let's say I just go here and use it site github.com. Similarly, in title, all this stuff we'll use it. PURJU. Okay, we get a list of results which are we get a list of results which are a combination of individual Adesh Gaganwar or talent for hire readme. Then where software is built, and then Shivam, then Sumit, then some repositories, or individual profile, who wants to be hired, who wants to be hired. So now if I'm seeing here, I'm getting a lot of false positive results. I'm getting a list of results which are of individual profiles. We're also getting a results which are of an individual profile. We're also getting a result which are actually some of the repositories or some of the overviews, which are not actually individual. So here we have a positive, here we have a false. That we call it as a false positive result. So we're getting both. We're getting repositories, we're getting some codes, we're getting something like this, like README, or we're getting some individual profiles. All the various things we are getting it. How about getting up only the individual profiles, or how about getting up to only this kind of a read.md profile? So in that case, what we do, just go ahead, first try to see the individual profile over here. So site github.com, we are clear that we get a list of results only from the github.com. Likewise, we got it only from the linkedin.com/in. Similarly, okay, now understand the page pattern. What we have: overview, repositories, project, packages, stars, and then the README profile, and then their followers, and then the following. So there are few things which are actually a part of a feature, which they cannot edit it manually. Now, these are all things. Hi, I am Adesh, a passionate UI engineer. I'm currently working on a restaurant app. These are all the something which they are editing by themselves. But there are few fields. Either they are a gray field like this, or either they're the fields like popular repositories, which they can't edit it. Two things on a profile, on every web profile, even it is a LinkedIn, like let's say if I just go to LinkedIn, try to understand which are the fields editable and try to understand which are the fields non-editable. Those are the ones which are helpful for us to perform a very good X-ray searches. Something like, let's say if I just go here, view my profile. Okay, edit public profile URL. When I just go to edit, I can edit only this part. I cannot edit this part. This is a constant. linkedin.com/in/ is a constant for across the profiles on the whole World Wide Web, because that's a feature and feature cannot be edited by users. Similarly, in LinkedIn also, similarly in GitHub also, there are few things which are features. Something like block or report are actually a feature. Something like follower or followings are actually a feature. Or something like popular repositories are actually a feature. Or something like these many number of contributions. So as soon as they contribute something, as soon as they push some code to the GitHub, this becomes 828. Again, one more code is changed. This become 829. Again, something is changed. This become 830. Again, something is newly created. This become 8 XYZ. Number keeps increasing. So these are few things which are actually the features. Contribution activity. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2022, 2023. These are all the features. These are non-editable features. These are the functionalities of LinkedIn. Let's say I just go to 2018 directly. Show more activity. Show more activity. Show more activity. Show more activity. There was no activity. That's reason the completely it is blank. Joined on GitHub. Joined on July 8, 2018. So again, those are the features. Those are not what we say editable session. So what we do, we take a benefit of these features. So here we just go. Let's say you can say so it is in 2018. Let's say come to 2023 contribution activity. Okay, contributed so many stuff. Or let's say I just refresh. and just go to his profile. So we'll come in an advanced thing when we're trying to search for the year of experience in GitHub searches. That will come on our later session. But try to understand how site operator is working. And apart from that, how are we performing an X-ray searches by using not just the website link, but also an additional non-editable session, non-editable sessions or non-editable content, which are basically features of these particular portals or the websites. We are taking a utilization of those. Now let's say contributions in last 1 year. Okay, site github.com. Site github.com in title. So first we got all means false positive results. Lots of false positive results. We got repositories, we got projects, we got some questions, we got some junk, we got some positive results also. But now let's say we just go here and I'll add okay. Let's say double quote and I'll just keep it star. That star is nothing but the fill in the blanks. That operator we have not covered it yet. Maybe in our next session we'll cover that operator. There are a few operators which we have not covered it yet. In our next session we'll cover it. But consider for now this star is just the fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks means that is just blank. You can put in anywhere. Like my name is dash. So there is a star. So the in our childhood books, it was dash. In Google, it is star. So in that dash, I used to write Shiv Kumar Gurram or Shiva or whatsoever. Okay, and there are 100 students in the class. They used to write 100 different names, but the question paper was same for everyone, right? But the dash was same for everyone. But the field what comes in, the name what it comes in that particular dash, it used to be a different for a exam teacher. Similarly, in Google also, that star is nothing but that dash. And instead of that star, there could be anything. So now let's say site github.com colon colon space star space contributions in last year. The reason because here we have taken. So now you this 827 person might do one contribution, person might do 10 contribution, person might do 500 contribution, person might do 1000 contribution. So that's the reason we thought, okay, let's use star, fill in the blank, because there are 100 different profiles. So star and then remaining thing remains as it is. So now we started getting a list of results, which are only the individual profiles. Now let's see here, contributions are missing. That's the reason we have a false positive, but let's repeat. Okay, 67 profiles. Now let me just close these all. So don't try to get impulsive just by seeing the numbers, but try to verify it. Are these numbers correct? Okay, so 67 results. So Priyanka Rastogi, Mayank Kumar, then Sumit, who Sumit, Adesh, we already seen. Let's come to last page. So here it is missing. That means it's a false positive. I'll just come to the page before. So wherever that thing is missing, it will show us. Okay, missing. So all these are positive results only. Missing Bangalore, maybe Bangalore is missing, but the person can be from India also. That's completely okay. But all these are individual profiles. So that's an individual profile. And how many? 9 contributions. That's an individual profile. That's a 0 contribution. That's an individual profile. 344 contribution. 0 contributions. 0 contributions. But all if you're seeing now, these are all are individual profiles. They are not false positive results. Every profile has github.com, their username, and then the number of contributions they have mentioned. So what we have done, when we come across a site which do not really have a defined URL pattern for the individual profiles, then what we try to do, we try to understand some of the non-editable part on a web. Something like, let's say, you take any other site that you wanted to suggest people that you wanted to profile from that particular site. Please feel free to. Anyone over here? Hirect, that is a web mobile app, I believe. We might not be able to.
Quora.
Quora, we did a lot of times. Anything else? But anyways, you asked, we'll do it. Once upon a time, I was in Chennai hiring, so I asked. Okay, so Anand Kumar, Selva, Kavita Jagdishan, Anonymous, Karthik. All right. So here is the individual profile, Anand Kumar. So for Quora, we see we have Quora.com/profile. If I just use this thing, I think we should be able to get it. SITE site, Quora.com/profile. And then whatever additional stuff was there, I'll just copy paste it. Intitle, front-end engineer, all the stuff. So only one profile. The reason because only one profile is matching. Chaudhary, somewhere would be that the title would be somewhere, but let's understand a format of Quora. So for that, we'll just go to my own profile. Okay. So let's say highlights, what I can highlight, what I can edit, editable part or non-editable part, credentials, edit credentials, then title, at company, and then what we say, this thing, year, then lives in Bangalore, Karnataka, content, joined, sourcing specialist, search research, Shiv Marguram. So let's say now we'll just take the use of the same things. Site, first name hyphen last name, which is again by default part, which is not editable. So let's say something else. Maybe front-end engineers are very less on Quora. Let's take a look at just manager at star. Okay, talent research partner at Twilio. So I would say just manager at star. So colon manager at star. So that star is again fill in the blanks. Then lives in Bengaluru, or yeah, Bengaluru. Lives in Bengaluru, which is apart text of apart from here, which is again non-editable part based on the things which are entered in a backend. It is picking up from there and giving. And then manager at star. It could be any company that's written space star space double quotes. And then like this, that's simple. So manager at ITC. Let's go to some of the last pages. All seems to be our managers. And all if you see are basically individual profiles. And all are managers somewhere or the other. in some or the other company. Content manager, freelancer, and then lives in Bangalore. Lives in Bangalore. Product manager at. So that manager at is existing. Okay, lives in Bangalore. And then manager. Then marketing manager lives in Bangalore. All are basically individual profiles. Manager at Aquaspring lives in Bangalore. Product manager at Interview Kickstart lives in Bangalore. Keshav Agrawal, general manager at Public Sector Bank, lives in Bangalore. So yeah, now what we did, we just tried understanding a URL pattern for the individual profiles. And in use cases, when we do not really have a URL pattern for the individual profiles, like one for the GitHub, what we just still tried doing, we tried again understanding that web link and then trying to see some of the non-editable or some of the featured part, non-editable or some of the features of these particular websites, and started picking up those particular as a keyword and started entering. And that's where we started getting a list of results only from that sites, and that too for the individual profiles. So it's not just for the individual profile. You can literally search for anything, any content that what you desire to. Only that the basics should be correct. So I'll just take a pause. Any doubts, any confusion? What does the operator site do here?
I understood what a site does, Shiv, but what is the difference between in URL and site now?
That we'll
I'm
cover
getting
tomorrow.
okay.
So the time is not sufficient for that for today. We'll cover tomorrow in detail with a lot of use cases. So any doubts, any confusion, what does site operator do? Yeah, Vijay.
Say one small question here. Like you
Hmm.
searched on Quora or on GitHub individual profiles.
Hmm.
Fine. What I want to know is, can we make searches also? I mean, a specialized search kind of a thing.
You whatever you desire to, you can make anything. Anything. It's just that basic has to be correct. So now
Yeah,
let's
because
say
what
instead
I saw
of
just now. Yeah, sorry.
now let's say instead of site linkedin.com/in, all those stuff, right? So instead of this, let's say instead of in, I would say jobs. I would get all those jobs. You just need to understand the URL pattern and you have all the jobs.
Shiv, just wanted to check on Quora or the GitHub. How do we get a group of profiles, specifically diversity profiles?
We'll come there later. First, understand the concept of what operator in URL doing, what operator site is doing,
Okay,
what the development. First, understand the basics. Later on, we have a lot
sure,
of advanced session. It goes for 3 to 4 months. You have a lot of time to ask so many questions. But
sure,
when
sure.
when the basics are getting covered, let's stick to the basics.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'll just take a pause. Any doubt on what operator site is doing?
Shiv, here we use only one in title, right? As you told, we have to use for each keyword one in title.
No, I didn't get your question.
For each keyword, we have to use separately in title, right? In title front end engineer, in title front
Keep giving a try.
hyphen end engineer.
No problem in that. You can give it a try. Let's say now, instead of this, I just use in title, multiple in titles now. That's it. So similar, earlier I got 10, now I get 6, now I get 7. So you use with that, with just with one in title, only for the specifically in title I'm saying, not for other operator. Okay. So yeah,
We
that's how
can
it
use
is.
it anywhere, right? Either in this way or that.
Either in this way or that way. Try
Oh,
using both the things so that you get both the results.
okay, sure. Thank you.
The condition is only in title.
You can use one in title also, like earlier we used.
Okay.
Like this. Here we used only one in title. So give both the things. There are changes happening. So give both the things, but not a major changes. It's just that how are we going to give it? Whether we are going to use it one or whether we are going to use it multiple. But technically, it's making same sense. Something like if I have to tell you 2 into 5, 2 into 5. Or 4. Or 6. So when you get it over here, first you are calculating 2 into 5, that is 10, or 2 into 4, that is 8, or 2 into 6, that is 6. Or you do it like instead of remaining this 2 into 5, or 2 into 4, or 2 into 6. Both the things are same. Okay, but giving it a try always work. But if it is a in URL part, it's a different. So in URL, definitely that space shouldn't be there. So yeah, I'll just take a pause. Any doubts, any confusion? What operator site is doing? Yes, no,
No, sir.
we're good.
Yeah, we are
Especially
good, sir.
newcomers. Or maybe this one more week after tomorrow's session, once you see the difference of in URL and site, and then again 5 days if you spend from Monday to Friday, watch all the videos and do a little bit of practice, then maybe you'll be a little bit more on track. And maybe one more week, then maybe another 2 to 3 weeks, definitely you'll be there on track for sure. I can assure you that. But yes, keep watching videos and keep practicing. That is something which has to be consistent. But otherwise, this is something, if we just come only on a weekend, attend 2 hours of session and disappear in between, don't do a practice, then again, the next week it will be completely alien for us. Yeah, are we good?
Yes, sir.
Great, awesome. So we have a question from Praneeth. In LinkedIn, we have 1, 2, 3 plus connection. The remaining will show us a LinkedIn member. Will it show all with Boolean search in free account? Okay, so in summer camp, here it is. Tick, 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 that is pretty much covered in our advanced session. We'll come there, but not now. Currently, as I mentioned, let's try to focus only on our basics. But otherwise, we have pretty advanced session on dive on our LinkedIn, free version of a LinkedIn. And recently I've edited and added a couple of more content, in-depth. Yes, that also we're going to cover. Okay, dive deep on direct and indirect search on LinkedIn, dive deep on basiclinkedin.com and explore some unintentional features, at least 10 plus features which are available for free, and we are going to ignore it, and we are ignoring it. Optimizing your LinkedIn profile to attract candidate and brand awareness. Diversity sourcing on free version of LinkedIn. This feature is not even available on LinkedIn Recruiter. How to leverage LinkedIn.com to drive employer referrals and generate leads from the employer network. How to search on a free LinkedIn, even if you run out of monthly limit of searches on a free LinkedIn. How to generate the insights and know the pool available in the market for each and every job family and industry using free LinkedIn. Basically creating a talent insight report using a free LinkedIn. How to identify startups in India on LinkedIn, again on free LinkedIn. How to identify funded startup, again on LinkedIn. How to identify anyone's email ID, again on LinkedIn, free version. How to do a cold reach out or improve a response rate, again on free version. How to leverage a free and a paid LinkedIn job post and make it work for you. Similarly, dive deep on LinkedIn Recruiter and how to utilize every feature of it to its maximum potential. Remember, LinkedIn Recruiter is inexpensive, and what's the point if you don't know all the utilization of all its features or to its maximum potential? I can show you some of the features which can be utilized in one or more than the way that is defined for. So LinkedIn, we have a huge lot of sessions. So please wait for their sessions and then we'll come there. So already we covered few operators are yet to cover that we'll cover in next another 2 sessions. But tomorrow we'll go with a difference between site versus URL in URL. And then after that, next weekend, again, 2 more sessions. And then I think we'll have the sourcing test level 1. All right. So I'll just take a pause. Any questions, any doubts? Anyone, please unmute. Any question, any doubt? Yeah, Ganga.
No, no, sure.
Great, Tahir.
Sure.
Ganga?
How do I practice? Sorry. Any
Great
how
question.
can I? Sorry.
Great question. Okay, so let me give you homework. That's how you'll be on top of practice. Okay, so let's start with the homework.
Because of Ganga, we got homework now.
And we're going to review it now.
I'm
Every day.
sorry. Because I'm very
Ganga
new
is
to
that
this.
one.
I'm very
Ganga is
new.
that one. Sorry, go ahead, Ganga.
No, I'm very new to this all sourcing and stuff, especially in the tech. So I wanted to
No,
be.
no problem. I mean, of course, it is beneficial if we work out. I was just getting in, like, you are one student in that classroom, right? Where every student hates at the last giving homework.
Okay, please create a searches which gets us the results from linkedin.com and finds front-end engineers. Okay, please create a searches which gets us the results from linkedin.com and finds front-end engineer, or please create anything. Either you can. Okay, let's start with some basic. I don't want to give so difficult homework. Please create a search on linkedin.com. All right, so this is the homework. Please create a search on LinkedIn. You don't have to create an X-ray search. Maybe that I'll give as a next homework. But right now, what you have to do, just have to come on a LinkedIn. And previously, we have covered in a couple of sessions that we were trying to search for software engineers. So just try to identify software engineers on LinkedIn who are working on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All right. So once we do this one good, then you will have a next level of homework. So homework will keep raising the bar on after every session. Definitely homework is really important, which I was missing. Thanks, Ganga. Thanks for calling it out so that it will keep you on top of the practice the whole week. So going forward, yes,
Thank
we
you,
are going
sir.
to give the homeworks.
Thank you.
All right, great. So any other doubts, questions? We are already 1 minute over the time.
None from Asia. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So people who join for the first time, as I mentioned, just go through the videos the whole week from Monday to Friday. And then try to attend for the next week. But I'm kind of a little doubtful. Rather, you wait for a July batch. People who join for the second time, you still have a scope of improving. Where again, if you would have already viewed the videos for the past 1 week, again attend tomorrow's session, and again 1 more week give yourself to go through the videos and start practicing. Because now we started giving a homework also, and also in group also I'll keep mentioning. I think I'll give a daily homework in the group. If you're a part of a Sourcing Express group, which is here, and if you're not a part of a Sourcing Express group, please join. Or else we'll do one thing. We'll create a homework group. Yes, I'll ping the homework group in Sourcing Express, but otherwise, please join over here. We do share a lot of knowledge. So I'm just sharing it here in the chat. Okay, I'll create a new group for summer batch homework. So whoever wants to practice up, join this group and start doing a homework. Maybe daily or bi-weekly or once in a means every alternate days, I'll start giving you the homeworks aligned with the previous learnings so that you're on top of the learnings and you're coping up with it. All right. We're good? Yes, no?
Okay.
Please be involved. Please be involved.
Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's connect
Thank,
tomorrow on inurl versus site. Thank you so much. Bye.
thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you, Shiv. Bye.
Thanks a lot,
Bye.
Shiv. Thanks. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.